remotely.
You want me to hold up the sign or something that says welcome?
No, just spin. Have fun. I'm going to double make sure that this is working, then I'm going to post it on Facebook. It says it's broadcasting. Oh, yep, we're good. Okay, we got the chat going. Let's go to Facebook. And say that you are live.
Yeah. I kind of like a long chain. Like you get that. It's just like a different flow, man.
Way different, man.
All right, we're going. People are getting the notifications.
Yeah.
Now the empire will build.
It's been double me on. Well, look at my proof instead.
I hope we're live. I just pushed the wrong link or something. Bam. Man, I hope this works. All right. Well, I'm gonna keep Facebook open just in case we're not really live and I only think we're live.
Okay. That's what we can tell you.
Yeah. Then someone can tell me if we're truly live. There should be a chat room as well for anyone that's just joining us. Use the chat room. Ask questions. You are live. Okay, Enrico says we're live. So you can hear us, Enrico? Or are you just being funny? Because it does, oh, yep, we got a viewer. Awesome, okay. I'm gonna step here for a second.
Go for it.
Okay, I know this looks like an old 80s surveillance camera and I apologize. I tried to use my, my iPad and it just wasn't working. So welcome to the live stream, the second live stream of Flowtricks. And as you can see, I have some awesome guests, some admins for Flowtricks. We have Zach Neffet.
Hello. How's everybody?
And of course, the myth, the man, the legend, Noah Garza.
How's it going?
And today what we're gonna do is we're gonna answer whatever questions you guys have. Yes, I can hear my Facebook dinging. So if you're on YouTube, you should use the chat feature and I'll be checking those and also be looking at the, you can send me a message on Facebook because as you can hear, my phone's dinging away as well. So without further ado, I'm gonna give it about a couple minutes. If you guys wanna start asking questions now, that's awesome. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes to watch these two dudes jam out.
What was that?
That's great.
Throw a little background music on, maybe?
Now, if you guys don't know, Zach is one of the admins for the weekly Flowtricks challenges. So what were you doing again this week?
This week we were just trying to get everybody to kind of expand their flow. A lot of people in the actual challenge page really get they get stuck on one prop, and that one prop seems to be nunchucks, which I guess is popularity. The thing that I was just trying to let everybody know is that there is a multitude of different props in a different world out there that I guarantee once they start spinning, it will open up so many possibilities for everybody. It's more than just one dimension, I guess, is what I was trying to get with the challenge.
This guy's pretty awesome. It's so true. Look, check this out. I'll tell you a little trick. When you think about props, you can think of how it bends, does it bend, and where the bend points are exactly. And you can try to do the same techniques with different props. For instance, this is a simple one, but if you have a nunchuck, you know the front to back wrist roll, quite simple, right? Basically, you're in a front grip, the center of the nunchuck is here, and you're rolling the center across the back of your fist, and as it rolls and you're grabbing it from the back end, of course, it goes to a back grip. You can do the same thing with this staff, right? And what I'm trying to say is all the moves that you've been working on, some of them are going to apply to different techniques and different props. So this is the center line right about here. We're going to do the same thing. We twist it, we open up our hand, but since it doesn't bend, we have to give it more of a twist before we open up our hand. And it rolls across the back of our fist, and we catch it. So it's really all about versatility, and when you're playing with different props, I really encourage you, like we all really encourage you to kind of get creative. You know?
Yeah, every single prop does translate into the other. I have found a lot that my spinning through each of these, like the staff, does translate to poi. I can actually learn my 2-beat and 3-beat for my poi behind my back with the staff. So take it as you want. Everything does transition to each one, so have fun and just play.
Exactly. That was exactly the idea, was just to pretty much just get everybody out there and let everybody know that there is a gigantic flow. And even though I am a fan of the nunchucks more than any other prop, like that, to say I'm not playing favoritism, but just wanted everybody to kind of realize that there's poi,
Okay.
double staff.
Sorry. This is great. Okay, so let's start with the questions right now because we already have questions. This is good, you guys. The reason why I wanted to do a live stream is because I want questions. I want people to ask away. First question, of course, is whoa, cool studio. Yeah, it is pretty awesome. What kind of LED chucks are those?
Noah actually had the LED nunchucks. Where did you just set those? I just set them out over here.
These are normal flow chucks. These are normal flow chucks. I am currently rocking one single pod and one crystal. Normal flow chuck tube. Made it myself. I also use silicone grip. The silicone grip actually really helps out. It does add a little bit of weight and makes it easier for me to spin and grip.
So Flowtricks comes from Flowtoys, which is www.flowtoys.com. Basically, for nunchucks, they have two different types of flow available. There's an older version, which he has both versions in there, I believe.
Yep. This is a hybrid.
Here.
The new flow chucks have 2 pods in them, and the older ones have 2 crystals in them. Mine has 1 crystal and 1 pod in each end. So it's a little bit of a hybrid.
The nice thing about the new version is that you can actually change the colors. So you're not stuck with the same colors, whereas the old ones, you pretty much chose your colors before you spun them. You're like, I like blue, I like green, or whatever.
Right.
These, you can actually push a button at the end.
This one will change, but the middle or the front top one will not. This one will.
So
regular crystal
new
stuff.
technology, old technology.
Yep.
Flowtoys is killing it though, man.
Old technology was good, but the new technology is so much better.
Oh, definitely.
With the old ones, you really had to take, it was in a sleeve, so you either had to drill a hole in order to change the colors, or
You had to slice it open with a blade.
But the new ones, it's all changed. Yeah, all the features are at the end of it, so it's just such a great.
One thing I would say I do like about the older style is the trails that it does leave is a lot different than it leaves on the pods. So I do love these trails compared to the other ones. And if you see any of my pictures, you can definitely see the difference between the trails. This gives me more of a square trail because the 2 lights are right next to each other. These are actually spanning 3 lights, 2 lights at the bottom, 1 at the top. So it does give you a little bit of a different trail. And that's why I love bottom.
Excellent question.
Yeah, and
Excellent.
he was talking about pictures, so I would say Noah has his own Facebook page. Just look him up. His name is Noah, N-O-A-H, last name G-A-R-Z-A. And again, he's one of the admins of Flowtricks. Everyone back here is an admin. We have Jared Miller coming down soon to answer any questions.
Legend will be here. He says he is on his way.
Now,
You can't rush perfection.
the next question, Weapon and Gaming Production says, Ken, can you teach us some staff basics, please?
Basic staff.
Basic staff. Well, I mean, staff basics.
I think all of us could probably do just a little bit of staff.
Yeah, we can share off some staff moves, but there's definitely one thing I want to say, which is I have a series of videos that already teach some of the basics. If you watch some of the older videos and just go to my playlists on YouTube, you'll get the rotor, you get the figure 8. Oops, that's reverse. You get the figure 8, and you get the rotor, you get the reverse figure 8, and you get the pinwheel, and then you also get it all together. which is called the box. So just look up the old videos and you'll get all those moves already. Besides that, the thing I want to talk about with staff is it's an attitude, it's a style. It's not just, and this is with any prop, but especially staff. I'm going to tell you guys right now, the thing that I can suggest the most is anytime you use a single prop, the advantage that you have over using a single prop over two props is your free hand and the movement that it opens up. So if you're not doing free hands or movement, it's probably better to actually do like paired. Like for instance, use paired chucks if you're not going to use your free hand or movement. Just because otherwise, I mean, if you stand here like this, right? If you don't use your free hand and you don't use your movement, you can look pretty cool. But if you're not using it, you're probably going to lose to someone that can do both. So what you got to do, if you're working on one, is to make sure that you put your whole body into it. I guess the one thing I want to say is before you even start learning anything with staff, think about this. Like in martial arts, I was just demonstrating this to someone before too, because I see this in spinning in martial arts sometimes. When I see people spin sometimes, I feel like people, it's equivalent to this in martial arts. Like as a punch, like ha 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 ha. Because what's happening is their arms are moving, but their whole body is disconnected. So there's really not a lot of force here. But if you can think of your presence and your power starting off down at your tiptoes, making a ripple like a wave that goes through your leg, through your hips, up through your shoulders, and straight out to the end of your fist. Bam! All of a sudden you have whole body in motion, right? So when I'm doing a spin, for instance, I could do this. That's really hard to do even. Or I could do this and drop my headphones. But you see, when I feel my whole body in motion, it's going to create this extra dynamics, and it's so different. And I'll give you one more example. This, or just this. Same technique. It's just the body's communicating. So what I want you guys to play with.
I can show this contact.
Huh?
There is a whole entire different world of spinning other than just speed spinning.
Oh, of
Where's
course.
that?
But I can't do speed spinning with, or I can't do contact with this thing.
No.
What I want you guys to focus on though is to focus on keeping your whole body coordinated with your prop. See if you can explore. So you can do a rotor. If you don't know how to do a rotor, be sure to watch the video on how to do a rotor. See if you can start moving it just with different body positioning. See what you can come up with that. Now, I already hear my colleagues have some more suggestions. So
There's a whole other world of spinning other than just left and right with the staff. With the staff, you can get contact. You can do a lot of off-body rolls where you're not even touching the staff. Now, a lot of different contact moves. A good place to start is actually good basic control of just wrist control. So just place your hands about same distance from the center and just practice bouncing. Just cup your hand and bring it back. Cup your hand, bring it back. From the other side, bring it back. From here, you can pretty much go into a lot of elbow rolls, neck rolls, stuff like that. And it does make a different dynamic of spinning than other than just basically standing there and spinning. Either way, you do have to be in tune with this thing when you do contact staff, because contact staff is not like normal spinning. It will fall off your body, and you're basically bouncing on a point. So like Ken did say, you do have to be very in tune with your staff. Make it work with your body. Oops. But you can do a lot of cool moves between both. Oh, almost knocked out Ken.
There goes the laptop.
do you have anything to add with the staff before we go to the next question?
I mean, I'm not super proficient in staff. A lot of my moves are basic moves, but what Ken was saying is that a lot of moves will translate into, or I guess a lot of props will translate into other props. The only reason why I could even hang with doing a lot of the staff moves is just because of my extensive knowledge pretty much with nunchucks and knowing my planes, knowing where everything's going to be at. You definitely do just make sure to stick with the basics. The staff,
Weapon and Gaming, by the way, said I meant contact staff, so I guess he was talking about
He was talking about some content.
Well, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, contact staff is a whole entire different story than regular
Oh,
spinning.
God,
There's so many tricks. Main thing I would say is always remember this is your balance point. No matter where, if you're going off your shoulder or your elbow or your neck, this always has to be your center point. So when you feed it, make sure you're actually getting that center point.
And what would you say, Noah, would be probably like if you were suggesting that somebody is starting to look to do contact and they don't know anything about contact, what would you say would be the first basic move that you could suggest them
Wrist
to
control.
learn?
Wrist control like I showed. Just make sure you have your hands straight up like a high five. Put them out. Hold it. It'll stay on your wrist. And it'll give you a good feel of just basically just staying with your body without actually touching it.
Notice his center line's right there. He's actually offsetting and his hands are very much symmetrical to that center line.
They have to be. If not, it won't work out too well. You just gotta make sure it gives you a good feel of basically just keeping it without actually touching the staff. Because that's the main thing about contact, is getting used to not actually touching it.
And how about fishtails? What do you
Fish
think?
tails?
I don't know if I would
We
start
gotta
with
bring Jared on that one, because Jared's the only one that's really on
Hey,
that
Jared's
one.
here
I've
right
had issues
now.
with that one. And
All
Jared's
right.
been trying to help me. And there he is right there.
See, there's maybe
By the way,
interpretation of
it's chaos over here.
Please come here.
Excuse the 1980s surveillance video camera too.
I'm saying that's where I started a lot of my spinning is around like contact is around the neck, and fishtails is what I've been practicing on. I've been practicing a lot of just bringing it around like that
Yeah.
and trying to learn like
So-
fishtail.
Let me show you a few tricks that if you watched a lot of chucking, these all translate from chuck moves. So your neck pass, shoulder rips, wrist, basically back to the neck and around your shoulder. Those are basically just same nunchuck moves that we do every day between neck passes, but you're just using the staff.
Welcome back again. If you guys are just joining us, this is our little Flowtricks party that we're having for 1,000 members in Facebook. Of course, we have a ton of people in YouTube, but Facebook is really the active. Our Facebook group is like where the heart of where our community's at. And Jared Miller just joined us.
everybody.
What we're doing right now is pretty much an open forum where anyone can answer. I mean, we're just basically answering questions for this hour. I do want to say one more thing too, as Noah was saying, like even the X catch on a staff.
Yeah.
You can still, there's so many moves you can do that from nunchuck to staff. So the one thing you do want to avoid though, if you're working multiple props, you want to start transitioning over the moves you know from chucks into staff, but you want to definitely make your staff, you want to figure out what makes it unique, because you don't necessarily want to just look like you're doing chuck moves with the staff. Absolutely. So you start there as a ground, but then you build off of it, and that's kind of like why I think contact staff is so cool too.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, it's a good way to mix up a couple of different styles, because you can definitely go to like a Ken style spin where you're going crazy ninja, then you can go to some slow rolling.
I never do that, do I?
Like that, but, I don't know if I can pull out the fishtail here on camera for you. We'll see if it'll work. But
Nice.
This one took me so long to be able to get because it's weird to find that magical sweet spot where it just grips on your wrist. But again, you're basically just doing simple figure eights. You can do it front or back, but you're basically just doing simple figure eights like this with it centered kind of on your wrist right there. So one of the tutorials that I found was kind of a good way to practice that was try to find the balance point so you keep your hand like kind of almost like at a stiff L, which can kind of wrench your wrist a little bit at first, but then you find the balance point where you can kind of go back and forth and keep it like that on your wrist without letting it fall. So once you kind of get comfortable with that motion, then you kind of start playing around with watching it rotate on your wrist. Now, you can do it forward again, but everyone says that reverse is the easiest one to learn before you transition into front. Of course, some people are different, and forward is going to be the easiest one to learn. And then once you get comfortable with those motions, it comes from a backward roll like that onto your wrist. So your center point should get pretty much right at your wrist, and then you just start crossing back and forth across your body. And you can do a number of cool things with it, but again, I'm still kind of beginner when it comes to a lot of this contact stuff. So getting some of this stuff down is still pretty tricky for me. So.
All right, Malik's in the house. Malik, Enrico, Jill.
What up, buddy?
All right, let's jump over to some chucks because I know a lot of these people people are looking at Chuck's. Is that an angel roll, Jared?
Angel roll? No. I think the angel roll, which is one that I can't really do, but I think it's that one that you come like this across your back and do some weird thing. I don't know if you guys maybe know the muscle.
I'll give you a little nice demonstration of the back, how it looks. Basically, what you're trying to do is feed your straps at this point to the middle of your neck. So it's going to bridge up the middle of your neck. So right there, just find a nice little sweet spot. And from here, you can also add another rotation into it too as well. So basically, flip, middle of the neck, out, that
So you're kind of doing like the sweet spot here, like that?
Exactly.
Okay.
And just get it right between those shoulder blades.
Okay.
Just get it right between your shoulder blades and let it pop over. And you can also practice just feeding it.
Look, everybody's learning.
You can just feed it. Just use your hands to get used to that motion right there. But once you start doing that, you can add a rotation into it. Come back. Just add another one into it. And you can also do it in the front, which is called steeple, I believe, which is a little bit more difficult. And yeah, I'm not going to try that right now.
Okay, a good question was asked. What's your preference of weight with the nunchucks? I know a lot of people are always searching for the perfect nunchuck, so I think I'd like to be the first to tell you it does not exist.
Nope.
The perfect nunchuck does not exist, you guys. And the reason for that is because as you start learning new techniques, you're going to realize that there are some chucks that work great for some moves. For instance, these are foam. These are going to be great with hyper style. But they're not going to be great with contact. As I'm going around, I'm losing a lot of the weight that would have been pulling around my wrists had I had a heavier chuck. So me personally, like I said, I've always just gone tried and true. I start with foam when I want to get my planes down because I don't want to hurt myself, and then I go over to fire chucks. And those are pretty much the only two I do, minus the Flow Toys chucks, which I practice a little contact chucking with. Right. What about you guys?
Well, and, me personally, again, kind of echoing what Ken said, I really feel like there is no perfect weight. It's a lot of what's comfortable for you and what just feels right. So and I know getting your hands on different styles and different types can be kind of hard depending on where you live, so that can be kind of a challenge as well. But
You got a grip of them right there.
yeah, that's what I was saying. I have my foamies. I have these really mega giant heavy 14-inch oak hexagon ones. I got these kind of lighter weight wood white wax ones, and I got the first generation Flow Toys plastic ones. And I mean, I can
actually touched on right before you got here.
nice. And I can do pretty much all of the same techniques with all the different styles. It's just you have to kind of accommodate for the different weights and the different styles that they present. But ultimately, if you want it, you can get it. You just got to practice with it, play with it, and just don't get too frustrated. And if you do, just set it down, go back to your favorite pair of chucks, and then pick it back up. So I don't know, what do you think, Zach?
Just based on weight.
Yeah, just based on your preferences. Like,
Your
what do you like?
preference, your favorite chucks to spin.
My favorite chucks, nothing too light, nothing too heavy. I do a lot of bounces. Find out you get like really, really heavy chucks and you're kind of doing a lot of, you get a stall kind of like this, you're definitely going to damage your hand. I've had like the under the skin bruises, of course, just from the chucks hitting too hard. And then again, you don't really want a heavy chuck. The other day I was spinning Jared's 14s. And I'll tell you what, I wasn't paying attention and I was trying to do just a simple move, just come up just like this, but with my left hand. And I'll tell you what,
Tell us how to.
definitely got me in the back of the head and it didn't feel good.
Yeah, that was a good day.
Malik wants to know how to halo with chucks. It's going to be the same as.
You can almost do it with these. Yes. How to do a halo pretty much just like an angel roll straight over. Unlike these guys, I do spin a little bit of a longer chuck, a little bit of a heavier chuck, and the reason for that is because I do a lot of contact, a lot of bounce work. It's a lot easier for me to actually keep a little bit more of a momentum and do my nice little grabs because they are nice and long. I can get a lot of different type of tricks, and different type of odds. Ooh. But they do hurt.
So how do you like to do the halo roll with that particular style?
Basically, feed it, because you're never going to be able to truly roll it because you have a chain. It's not a fixed object, so it's just your halo roll is pretty much the same thing as your angel roll. It's up top and around.
Right.
The only way you can be able to do that is just pass by your hand.
Show them
Like
like
that.
that. Fine too. To kind of help to let them see where you're pushing.
Down, around. That's about as close as you're going to get with these.
There's one thing I do want to add to that though, which is when you do a halo roll, you want to move in a V. So you're not here like this is a perfect line behind right now. I'm creating a line behind. When I start to halo roll, I actually want to start here in a V. I'm pulling it this way and I turn my body into the V, so that way it'll naturally return over my shoulder. If you go straight with it, you won't be able to roll into it, so to speak. It's going to be stuck behind you.
Right.
And as he's saying, yeah, because you have a chain, that one thing, I mean, if you can talk to John Oswald for one, but
He's the man.
if you have a really short chain, you could probably get away with it, but you would want to stall it here and push it through, but the chain is going to stop it from wanting to surface. So it's a great question, but yeah, you would have to have a special chuck for it, just because you have no center point to roll it across. By the way, how are you guys all doing?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. For sure, this is awesome.
We need some chucking. Okay. Yeah, people have been wanting some nunchucks.
People are like seething for it.
Jared, I thought it said psychopath leg roll. I was like, what kind of leg roll are you learning, man? Christina wanted a little thing on finger rolls. Hey, this is really nice. I'm like letting you guys do all the work. I'm just like, yeah. This is how it should be, right? Because it's like we're celebrating the community here, and I don't even have to teach now. The community's teaching. Peace.
Yep. So Zach, you've messed around with a lot of finger rolls.
Yeah,
How do you
Christina was asking a demonstration of finger rolls.
Finger rolls?
No, Christina can do a finger roll, so I'm not sure what exactly she.
Yeah, if you have a specific finger roll
Yeah,
too, let us
what
know.
were you
So we'll
looking
try
for,
to,
lady?
Try to iron that out if we can figure that out.
It is a chuck
I had a
party.
really good buddy who would do a really good finger roll above his head. He could do pretty much a finger roll that you would do with a staff.
Indexes.
He would do it above his head. And see, and I can only get pretty much a little bit past my index finger, and then I lose it.
Try a heavier chuck.
By the way,
Honestly, I've tried this, and it does feel much like a staff when you spin a heavier chuck.
Travis Bradford says if you do finger rolls, you should talk about how it applies to thumb rolls.
See?
Yeah.
It does bounce a little bit easier with the longer chuck.
So honestly, the finger rolls, I can only get to about, I'd say about to my pinky. And then it's all about the reload. So I just start, let's say I'm going counterclockwise, stay horizontal with your body, a little bit above your face. I guess not a bad example, but the finger rolls with chucks, it's a different piece. Yeah, depending on what style of nunchuck that
It
you
is.
have.
If I could add something too, when you're doing finger rolls, you're going to stop thinking about in terms so much as regular hand grip, but more the pencil grip. You know, like how you would hold a pencil with your hand. You're going to be more in this grip because your fingers are trailing across the chain, and when you reach the end, you don't always have that opportunity to come across there. There's a few finger rolls that we can think of. Your thumb roll is a part of the finger roll. It usually goes opposite because your thumb can stick downward. So whereas you can go one direction with your fingers, you can go the opposite with your thumb. These are all theoretical. I cannot do it, but theoretically you should be able to get a finger roll on top and then a thumb roll on the bottom and create a figure eight.
Yeah, I've tried that a billion times and I cannot for the life of me hit it, but.
Something you can start with though, this is kind of a cool little combo, is I usually use it on my left hand. Do you know why I use it on my left hand? Because I dislocated my right shoulder, if you remember right, and I had a sling and I was trying to figure out what to do, right? And this is something I came up with. This is pretty simple. Well, I won't say it's simple, but it takes a little practice, but it's pretty fun. You're gonna bounce it off your tricep like this to redirect it. And all you're gonna do is your pointer finger is gonna slide back and your middle finger is gonna go across, and you're gonna just try to roll this across your middle finger. So yeah, you're gonna be sticking out your middle finger like so. And as soon as you reach the end, so you bounce it, you put your middle finger right out here and it's rolling across, and as soon as it reaches the end, you're gonna try to tuck your pointer finger on the other end. Eventually what's gonna happen is you're gonna be able to go through all of your fingers. It's been a while since I've done this, but it's like middle, pointer, thumb. So you can eventually go middle, pointer, thumb. And as soon as you reach the end, basically, okay, so it's like middle finger is moving until it reaches the end, and all of a sudden pointer finger takes over, and it slides back up till it reaches the end, and then thumb takes over and it reaches down until it takes the end. Now that's a lot to work on. So first just start doing one bounce and holding out your middle finger and seeing if you can get it to the very end, and when it does, your pointer finger is gonna catch it like that, almost like a pencil grip.
and then you're gonna let go, and then it's gonna roll this way, and then your thumb's gonna catch it, and it's gonna roll that way.
Right.
Ken with the ever technical moves.
That's what happens when you get injured. Seriously, you don't stop spinning when you get injured. You just spin with different things.
Yeah, I actually busted my lip open the other day. I was spitting blood because of a truck.
So don't spin with your lip. He stopped spinning with his lip from there on
Stop
out.
spitting my lip, exactly.
All right. More questions, guys. Bring us more questions. We want to answer them all. If we did not answer your question about the finger roll, I'm sorry. You'll have to ask again. Like what specifically? I just wanted to show you that one because I thought it was pretty cool.
Honestly, Kristen, if you kind of want a better tutorial about like the finger roll, I think something like a slow-mo would kind of be a little bit better.
Totally.
We could figure out like kind of different variations of different finger rolls,
Yeah,
like you were
for
saying
sure.
with the thumb. Kind of more of like a staff one where you kind of do it with all 5 fingers and you'll reload. Something for not on the 80s security camera, I guess you're not going to get the greatest.
Okay. Enrico wants to know a new aerial. Do you guys have any? I have one. Let's all just. Do you have a new aerial, Enrico? Go ahead and bring it up there.
Someone that
Bounces.
What's that?
Bounces. Finish bounces. That's what Ariel is. Get a nice little finish here. Only works with longer chains. I'm sorry, guys, for all you that run short chains. But get yourself a nice little finish here and give it a little bounce. Usually the momentum will actually force it down and it'll be able to bounce up. And even from here, you can bring it to a reverse finish. So, there's that arrow. It takes a lot of practice and I haven't been practicing, obviously. Yeah, but that's the one I got.
I like his though, but with instead of kind of wrapping it all the way around your hand.
Oh, right.
I just and it's easier with the ropes, I think, instead of with the chain. You can just wrap it around your 2 fingers, pop it down, just like that.
So if you guys don't see what it's, I'm just gonna sneak in.
Yeah.
The chain is wrapping around the fingers to create the cross. So
Longer
don't forget-
chains, you get the
That's-
luxury of
That's what's
actually
happening in
using
slow
your hand.
motion if you can't see with the camera.
Yep.
So you just pretty much just bounce it down, and the weight of the chucks will bounce it up. I prefer to catch it with my wrist just because I feel like it looks more dynamic.
Yeah, but after a while, you should be able to bounce it from each hand, one to the other hand, and catch it, just like that. Then bounce, catch it, just like that. Takes a lot of practice and a lot of time. I'm still working on it. It's a lot of control.
Okay. The thing I want to show you guys is this is an advanced move, so this is not for beginners. Maybe intermediate, I don't know. I'll probably drop it because I haven't done this in a long time. The idea is basically being able to sweep an aerial from one side to the other side, from this side to the other side. So what we're basically doing is infinite horizontal aerials with 180-degree turns. So what we'll do is we'll have it in our right hand, and we're just gonna basically bounce it on the right side, outside of our tricep. Boom, get ready for this shoot. So we get in this awesome ninja stance, and we're gonna fling it above our shoulder like this. This is gonna be a horizontal aerial if you guys don't know. We're gonna fling it above the shoulder, and as soon as this reaches about parallel, like if this was a clock on top, it would be about 9 o'clock. As soon as it reaches around 9 o'clock, we're gonna let go, and we're gonna lift our arm up at the same time, and it'll launch it in the air, right? Now the thing is about this move is, it's not this horizontal aerial. I'm hoping you actually already have that. Also, when you catch this aerial, do not catch it by your face, because as you grab it, it's gonna have a bit of a retraction, so it could hit you in the face. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a little bit lower now. We're gonna try it again. We're gonna launch it. But when we catch it like this, we're gonna take a 180-degree turn. We're gonna launch it again, like that. So up, up, up,
Nice.
and down. It's been a lot. But see how many volleys you can get with this. It's a neat little combo. One. Man, that's kind of too hot. Like that. So it's great though, because now we're adding footworks to aerials, which I always do. Anyone else have any?
I don't know if I can pull this one off because it's still kind of tricky, and they're not necessarily new, but just modifications on ones that I've been playing with. So there's the one that I've been kind of playing with a lot, which I'm sure you guys have seen in my videos. It comes with the back-to-back wrist roll, and then you pause it and pop it up like that. Well, I kind of have way to get into the can from that, which you can do to either leg, and I'll see if I can pull this off for you. But so you do your pop it up under the leg like that.
Nice.
Like that. And then the other one was that tricky under the leg thing, which I can only nail like 20% of the time, so I might be able to get this on camera for you. But comes from an under the leg, and then you actually catch it here and like rotate it. So you're gonna go there. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this on camera for you guys, but I mean, I don't know if you've seen my other video. But basically what it is, to explain how to kind of attempt getting at it, is you obviously do your under the leg. I go from my right hand under my left. And as it launches, you focus on a slow release to where it's going to come down nicely, and you like twist your leg and catch it like this. Which I know is extremely awkward to do. Give you some angles. And then as it's under here, you twist your hip and rotate. And if you catch it on the right side, the stick will be right there, and you can go reverse grip and just roll right out of it. See if I can try one more time for you.
Yeah, I got
close,
it.
very close.
Yeah.
Nice. Very good job.
You can do that with the short staff too. Long staffs are hard. The big thing with the short staff is just the plane is really weird. If you're not straight, you're going to smack yourself in the leg. But it definitely works.
There we go.
There we go.
Nice.
That's very clean.
So those are two that I've been playing with.
So what do we have for questions?
Do you have any
I got
more?
one more that I think you guys might like too. This is another intermediate to advanced one, but it's really cool. I don't know if I've actually ever taught this one. Maybe I have. I don't remember. So this is under the leg aerial. A lot of times people will do an under the leg aerial horizontally, but we're actually going to come from the back to the front. Now, the thing about this is you don't want to go straight behind you, okay, or you're just going to blast yourself in the groin. The trick is if I'm standing straight, I'm actually shooting it off into a V. So if it were to hit my leg, it would actually come across this direction. The reason why we do that is so we can throw it. We're actually going to let go. We're going to slide our hand into a mid to low grip. We're going to fling it, and we're going to catch it, okay? Here, grab it. Now, if that's too easy, try the backwards version of it too with the 180-degree turn. That's when things get fun. Ha! So now we're going to do a figure eight. This is great. We're going to do a figure eight. We're going to do the same thing. Remember, as we're doing a figure eight, we're going to go straight into this. We're going to go straight into this throw, meaning we're not going to go straight up and down again, right? Because we're doing the exact opposite of this, which means it's going in diagonally this direction. As we go diagonally, we can let go, but it's going to be flying behind us, so we have to turn with it. So here, come down, I'm going to step in. As you see, I'm only stepping in about 90 degrees to let this thing go through. When I let go, it's going to fly behind me, so it'll look like this. Now, last but not least, if you think, oh, that's still too easy, can't give me a challenge, put them together in a combo and it'll look like this. Straight up, catch, down, catch.
Nice. Nice.
So, stuff to work on. I'm just showing off.
All right, I'm gonna go look for more questions. Ask some questions, guys. Beat us. Any beginner contact chuck moves that are easy?
Beginner contact.
I would think a syncopated would be the closest thing that I could think of that would be.
Yeah. And I don't really mess with it too much. I do a syncopated thumb to wrist roll, but I don't really mess with the syncopated too much.
I really feel like the contact chucks we should probably catch on a different day because it'll be a very specific.
Yeah, I don't think anybody actually here has some chucks that are actually good for contact. Normally you have a really short chain on it to make it a lot easier.
All right, I make
Sorry.
wood nunchaku from oak and poplar. Is that right? Is there somewhere you guys can find ironwood? Yes, in the jungles of Japan.
Ironwood? You just gotta grind on like the homemade nunchaku sites.
Yeah.
I don't know if Woodall has anything like that or not, but there's only been a few places I find that actually has specialty wood like that.
Oh, this is great. Hey, I think the contact figure eight wrist roll can. God, Enrico, seriously, dude.
Enrico is challenging. You're so difficult. We love it.
Okay. First off,
You can do this move if you accidentally, can I borrow your chucks, please? Yours will be great. Let's say you accidentally, this doesn't happen anymore, but I actually created this because I accidentally tried to grab a chuck and it hit me in the wrist instead. But you can practice this move. It's a pretty cool contact move that's not too hard. It's actually taken off Kung Fu. They used to hold teacups and do the same exercise. You can actually try this too with the teacup if you want. It's pretty fun. Basically, the idea is you're going to keep the teacup in your hand and do a figure 8 with your hand without dropping the teacup. Now, for this, we're just going to use chucks, so we can actually cheat. But think palm is always up, and basically, we're going to take our elbow and we're going to pull it out, and we're going to try to swing it around. Do you see how my palm is always straight and steady? You want to try to keep it as straight as possible. Once we take it almost fully, we're going to run out of space, okay? So we're basically taking our hand, we're inverting it 360 degrees, and then we're almost out of space. So what we do is we take it over our head. It's almost like a karate chop over the head, and all of a sudden we're back to where it was. This is kind of like if we're to actually keep it going in motion. I don't do this too often anymore, but you should be able to keep it rolling like so. It's a little teacup move. You're kind of leading with the edge of your palm, and I don't think I really have a good chuck anywhere around here that can really keep it straight, because you're going to want it kind of the less chain and a little bit lower with balance point. But something like that. A nice thing too is that as you do that, you can actually catch it. Like you're going here, you can actually open up your thumb, and it should roll right into your hand eventually, so you can grab it and get out of that too. So here, catch. Look at that. Thank you. No,
Very nice.
Are those flow chucks with 3 lights? No, they're actually, well,
We discussed this.
yeah, they're 2.
1 crystal, 1 flow light crystal, and 1 pot pour.
So they're 2 lights.
So
One-
technically there's 5, but 2
Yeah.
up here, 1 here, and 1 down here. And a nice little flow tube.
Mm-hmm.
We'll pull that out so you see it.
Ken, I need to try that version. Can you do it side to side?
hold on. I want to make sure you guys, if you guys want to jump on something here, I'm gonna take a look and make sure I'm not missing any Facebook questions as well.
Well, we kind of talked about the challenges when we showed up. Yeah. Just kind of,
Whoa, it's not letting, okay. So I just got a message that it won't let you comment because there's too many comments in YouTube right now. If YouTube is flooded with too many comments and it won't let you post, ask on the Facebook group. I'll be checking it. Actually, send me a message. Send Ken Hill a message because it'll ding me, okay? I'm reading right now just to see here. Nice, nice, okay. Well, right now I don't think we have any questions, so.
That's fancy living. Yeah.
Here, I'll share one that I've been kind of playing with a little bit. It comes from the base of your front to front wrist roll. But basically what you're going to do is instead of actually catching it again, you're just going to let it slide across the back of your hand for an additional half rotation. And it's almost like you give it this little sideways push and you end up doing this weird, like, sort of reversal thing. I don't know exactly what I'm calling it yet, but
Can you do a little slower?
Yeah, I'll see if
because
I
it's
can.
actually the frame rate ain't even catching it.
like that. And then you catch it right there.
It's like a
And then,
bounce.
then it just unrolls. So again, instead of catching it, oh here, let me see if I'll switch it to this, sorry. This color might help a little bit too, I don't know, maybe. So instead of, again, just catching it in the front to front position, you just let it slide across the back of your wrist. So it's like there. You see how it would have just continued off the back of my wrist? So you do it there, and you just like kind of put your hand up and catch it reverse. And there's a number of different, options that you have from rolling out of it. So see if I can play with this view for you real quick. So something like that. Let's see if I can do it a little slower here for you. Like that. So you can unroll, go back into your back-to-backs, do that whole deal. Just kind of a fun one again. I don't know what the heck I'm calling it at this point, but it's something that I found you can do like a behind the back transfer from that, like that. That's kind of just a weird, goofy one I kind of picked up the other day.
Okay. Cool. We got 2 questions. Okay. One I can address. One you're gonna have to address. All right. Well, actually, anyone could. We could all probably address this to some degree, but there's something I wanted to touch on. Someone asked about additional help with a performance, I believe. Let me make sure I got that question right. Question was this. Any more tips on style during a show? And performing, like when you're doing a show, is so different. It's so different than when you're just spinning. So yeah, I do have tips. One is I did a record session that's probably like 15 minutes long, all about style and live performances and how you should address it. But if there's one thing I really want to stress with performing as opposed to spinning is that you're going to want to syncopate it to music, and your whole goal is to create an atmosphere for your audience. You're creating an atmosphere for your audience. You're no longer thinking about what feels good to you, but what looks good to them and what creates and compels them to want to know more. So not only are you creating compelling emotions, but it's almost like, how do you ask a question with a nunchuck move? You know, how do you, and the way you ask a question is you don't quite finish it all the way when you first begin. Or you build off of it to lead them to believe that you can do more with this. And so basically, if you create a sense of anticipation, it's just like a movie. When you see the movie and the plot thickens and you want to say, like, what's going to happen next? All of this comes into play with live performances, which doesn't come into play with flow, like when you're just playing around. So the thing I could say right now, without getting too much, is that you're going to create styles that build around music, and you're going to think of, how can I captivate my audience? How can I transform them and take them somewhere? And how can I keep them wondering what's going to happen next? How can I actually create like this story that moves forward so they want to finish it? And then how do I finish it? I mean, it's just like you're making a movie. So you are a movie director, essentially. I know I didn't teach any techniques with this one because performing is a philosophy first, I feel, the way you approach it. And then you're going to connect all of your techniques to your philosophy that you created. Now, the other question was asked by Christina, and it's for Jared. And she asks, syncopated leg rolls, Jared.
That one, I don't know if you're talking about that one, the aerial that I was doing earlier, but the syncopated leg rolls are pretty much the same. So basically when it comes to any of that stuff, like if you can do any of your basic syncopated wrist rolls, essentially what you have to look at is more of a theory than practicality, so to speak, at that point. So basically, if you can do it on the point here, the circle here on your wrist, you can do it here, 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 you can do it at this circle, you can do your neck. So basically, any point essentially that represents a circle or an area that your chain can wrap around, you can do it. So that same thing will apply to your legs and down to your ankles, and even the front of your toes, which are really ridiculous to pull off. And to me, I never play with them because I find them, particularly with feet ones, useless in my flow. But not to say that they're not a worthless move at all by any means. But so that's the big thing you got to remember is if you can transfer this same application, just kind of look at it and study it, and then you can basically apply the same thing to other parts of your body. Then again, I don't play with my actual syncopated, but then I don't know if you're talking about that other one where I do it from the aerial catch, and that one is basically, it's more of a catch than an actual syncopation because you just catch it there, and it just looks like it's actually rolling, but it's not because you're just transferring it to your hand. So, but that's the biggest way that I really found to discover any sort of leg syncopations at all was, again, to just transfer the theory from your wrist to any other point on your body that represents a circle. Now, if you had a long enough string and you had enough momentum and space, you could actually physically do your torso and do these giant syncopations, but again, your typical nunchucks really won't usually allow for that. So if you had some gigantic, like 12-foot nunchucks, you could probably do it, but so that's my idea behind it, basically.
Next question is, this is for everyone. They'd like to know our favorite move using 2 hands.
Like 2 boy or?
2 hands.
I mean, 2 chucks? 2 chucks, 1 chuck.
I don't know if it's 2 chucks. I think you just said 2 hands. What's everyone's favorite trick that uses 2 hands?
I'm assuming it's a single chuck. I'm assuming.
Single chuck, honestly, really, that's definitely one of my favorites because from here you can go from a moon wave, put your nice little index finger out, pop it over. You got almost like an S catch there. Then you can wave it from there. Then back into an X catch. So that's one, definitely my favorite by far because you can really make some nice little patterns with it and go from anywhere from there.
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know if I can pick a favorite. I don't know.
I think it's
The cast involved with your hands or just like.
Well, you guys can think, I got one for you. This doesn't really use two hands, but it uses both hands. So it's a combo that uses both hands. It's one of my favorites. It's an illusionary combo. That's what I think I like about it, which is when we're doing this rule here.
Nice.
The reason why I like it is because you're using your hand as an obstruction device instead of just as a dyno hand that will claw anyone that watches them. So a lot of ideas, some ideas that you can come up with is when you're doing your aerials, start pulling your hand in the way and seeing if you can actually create more of a barrier, more of a barricade, kind of make it more interesting. You know, there was something I was working on, but I haven't done it in a while, which is that you throw an aerial and you try to follow your hand within the aerial spin without touching the chuck. I got it better with a staff, but I don't know, anything that I feel like anytime you release with one and you integrate the second, but then you come back to the third again, it's just pow, pow, you know, creates a lot of unpredictability. So I would say that's my favorite one at the current moment. Anyone else?
I don't know, like if we're talking moves that are like two hands at the same time, so I'm kind of along with Noah says. I like the moon wave finger transition patterns because you can do so many different things with them. I mean, you got S catches in both directions. I mean, you got all sorts of different fun things you can do there. But if I'm doing a move that it's not just like a hop from right hand to right hand, if it's right to left, I really like the behind the back, and then there's one that goes from the behind the back catch to an overhead. If I can pull this off here, so you do your behind the back, and then in one swift motion, you come back up there like that, so it comes back around. So if I can see if I can do this again.
It's almost like a pinwheel.
Right, and if you do it just right, you can actually launch it without actually bringing your hand all the way up. It's just kind of natural for me, but you can just go straight from there. It's almost like an aerial right here behind your shoulder line right there, and it comes back down. So you can actually even turn that into a strike too if you wanted. So it'd be like, bam, so you can make it combative if you want to.
By the way, the question about ironwood, if we do find a place that has ironwood, we'll let you know. I haven't seen any though. Not yet.
I definitely have not. Again, I haven't really super researched it either, but I haven't really heard of any fires or anything like that.
Gil Chuck says Garza. Wow. Travis says I dig it. Lamat says that's a cool effect. I don't know which move they're talking about, but it's all good. They're all cool.
As long as you guys love it, we're happy to share.
Right. Any questions later, man? Just send me a message, and I'll definitely show you everything that I've put on this video.
Okay, there's another question for Jared. You know that roll on the wrist with the staff? Try it with the fire chucks. I tried it with foams. I think it looked cool unlit. Do you know what he's talking about? This is Enrico.
Are you talking about like the fishtail, Enrico?
Oh, I bet he is.
I kind of wonder. I don't know if maybe if you had like the Pro Chuck style where they were like short together, or how John Oswald has those ones that are kind of like short chain contact chucks. I think that might work. I don't know if that's
Oswald does it, yeah.
Yeah,
but
I think that would probably be your best bet. I don't know. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's just I feel like with the weight distribution, having to have the chuck right there, there's not a lot of weight it's not very centered. You know what I mean? It just wants to fall. So I don't know. I guess I'd have to be for sure which move you're describing, but maybe.
Christina says windmill.
Now, do you look at the windmill as this move, Ken? This is like typically what you look at the windmill.
I call that a pinwheel.
Pinwheel. What do you call the windmill?
I don't know. With one, the windmill to me is
like something like that kind of.
I call that the wheel.
I call it a buzzsaw.
There could be a couple different variations of.
Well, what's your idea with the windmill? Like,
I mean,
what do you typically
the
think?
windmill to me is a poi move where you're going from a 3 beat overhead to the reverse 3 beat on the other side. You know?
Wait, so you're like this, like.
Yeah, Christina, you'll have to.
Oh, wow, that's a fountain.
Oh yeah, that is a
That is a fountain.
Okay, so what's a windmill? I
I
don't think I made that one up.
This is why we need to
enhance and enforce terminology so there's a unified language.
An actual windmill, closest thing I got is probably this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So-
the one that's like Avery.
That's why I don't recognize.
Mostly
Yeah,
on
Gabe, that's
infinite
Gabe.
beats.
We
Good
need
thing to
Gabe here.
do is basically split time, put them together, let them wrap. They're gonna eventually wrap together completely. At that point, you're gonna want to change your body stand. So
Yeah.
basically, let it wrap 12 times, bam, bring it over here, and then they'll unwrap. And you can pretty much roll that up from anywhere, up top or in the front. But that's what I call a windmill, pretty much.
If you're talking about camping, just for a second.
sir.
The idea is to get them to collide without them actually hitting each other, if that makes sense. We're creating a collision force, so if I'm gonna kind of try to touch them together so they can collide, but I don't actually want them to collide, just enough so they can wrap around each other. And then what happens once you do this is you let go. So you get the nice collision, create a very strong straight line, and then you just let go with one hand and you let it roll.
So-
Gabe could probably show it better because I've only seen it, but that's just kind of what I gathered from it.
Like we're talking this week, different drops. Poi, this move is a lot easier. We call it more of an infinite beat. Basically, put them together, bam. And then you can bring them back around. Poi is a lot easier to do this move because it's already there. And it's basically release.
There's a nice little variation that you can do if you have two chucks, which isn't too hard, which is, so we're doing a 3-beat, for instance. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull my right hand to the outside. I'm gonna let it collide, but just one time. So basically, if you look, it's just folding one time over. See that? So it's kind of the same concept as windmill. It only has one wrap around it. Once you wrap it like this, once you grab it and wrap it, you just let go with the other hand and throw it up in the air, and it comes up like a star. Getting it unwrapped can sometimes be a challenge. Sometimes you get lucky and you can just pull them straight apart as well. But it's kind of a visually fascinating move, and all you do is you just let it wrap around one time, catch, do whatever your figure eight, throw it up in the air, and let all four of them just spiral, so to speak.
Thank you. We got, it's about 7 o'clock, we got a couple more questions.
Yeah, okay, we gotta cut.
Unless you
Let's
want to
see.
keep going, I
We'll-
mean,
We'll be
it's up to everybody.
we'll be wrapping it up real soon here. Let's see. I want to see something groovy and horizontal.
Horizontal? I love horizontal. Just like we were just working on a second ago, your windmill. You bring it above your head, it'll release and it'll actually untangle. So, you can basically bring it back and forth. That's probably my favorite horizontal right there. And from there, you can also go into your helix. Do your buzzsaw, down 3-beat. Switch it around. Ooh. Horizontal playing is very fun to play with.
You guys have anything else you want to add about
Horizontal. There's one that I kind of like to do. So one that I saw Richard and Malik and a couple other people playing with recently was doing the rotors with nunchucks, which obviously here is vertical. So you're just doing that basic move there. I'll try to slow down for you guys. So what this one is you actually do this horizontally. And so what I call this is, I call this the intro to like the pizza toss. So there's the pizza toss for me and then the pizza bounce, which is where you kind of catch it on your fingers on the chain and bounce it. But so for me, for the toss, what I call this is working the dough. Like if you ever worked at a pizzeria, so you're like, you're getting your dough ready, and then you kind of come up with this pop and toss it horizontally, and that's how you do your horizontal pizza toss. So again, you're here. And you can do all sorts of different things. I mean, you can do horizontal X catches and all that stuff that way too. But so again, you're doing your rotor, and I typically do mine counterclockwise because I'm a righty. I think it'll work better if you're a lefty doing it clockwise. But so for me again, so I'll come on the rotor and then just swing it up and do a horizontal launch. And I'm not terribly great with the pizza bounce just yet, but you can do your bounces and stuff like that. So. That's a fun little horizontal one that I play with a lot.
Do it, Zach! One that I kind of liked was what we put into the challenge was the 540 syncopated wrist roll, but it was a horizontal one. So you start with your left hand, come around, catch it with your wrist. So once again, you can kind of get a good spin with your wrist depending on how deep you want to come into it, I guess. Then from there, you could get just do a lot of wrist stuff from there. I don't know. That's one that I've always.
Oh, there was that other one that I was playing with the other day that I showed you. It's like a 540 syncopated to an X cache to a 540. This one is really dependent on having a lot of momentum with it. So you're going to do the same thing that he was doing. So you're going to X cache it right there on your wrist.
Whoop, whoop.
So it's a horizontal X catch.
Yeah. Oh man, so now I'm not missing it. So there, and then he comes back around and he can catch it.
Horizontal
So
syncopated.
I'm doing this very sloppily. Like that. Very cool.
Very cool.
I also have a very simple one to show you here.
It's really simple. This one's an easy one. It's all about attitude. And make sure you guys just get it back on this one here. Looks like this. Here. It's not that one. Just kidding. It looks like this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a neck pass. We're gonna let go. Let our hands go. We're gonna grab with our left hand because we're gonna spin to the left. The spin is just gonna create more drama. It's gonna be more dramatic than if we didn't. And all we're gonna basically do is we're gonna unleash it over here until it comes across where we're actually gonna put it over our arm. Jeez. I'm like mixing two moves together here. So it's gonna look like this. That's gonna be how the move looks. It's really not that big. And then it flies. It's really not that big of a move. It's really quite simple if you break it down. Basically, let's try it again here. Your left hand grabs, your right hand gets ready to swing over. Your left hand's gonna grab the right side, that way it'll unleash. And your hand's gonna follow it. So this is more just creating the illusion of something more than what it actually is. And as you're spinning, you're gonna unleash it. So it's gonna be like swoosh. It's gonna come over to the outside of your arm. You guys probably know this one from an old video where your bicep catches it and you grab it from the inside over here. So again, one more time.
Nice. Like that.
You guys, it's 7 o'clock.
It is. That was a quick hour.
Let's get everyone in here again. Jared Miller, everybody. Hi. Zach Nesbitt. And of course, Noah Garza. And I am Ken. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
You all are amazing.
Leave comments. Let me know what we can do better or if you guys want to see another one. Peace.